One of the most loyal entrepreneurs to Valuetainment is Peter Estrada from Manchester United. Peter, this episode is dedicated to a question you asked. He asked me a question on a survey we sent out a couple weeks ago. He said, I'd like you to do an episode on how to handle disgruntled former team members. So we changed up the title, and the title is How to Deal with a Victim Mentality Team Member. And this could be former, it could be existent. I'd rather figure it out now so we can solve it so I don't have to constantly have it former. And we can resolve the issue now. Typically, most of the time, a lot of these things can be resolved based on dealing direct and communicating with them. But the first thing I want you to know is being able to read who's not happy, right? There's a sign to be able to read who's not happy about what they're doing. So first, we're going to cover 7 keys, qualities of a victim mentality. Then I'm going to talk about what things you need to do to be able to work with this. So, first things first, point number 1. Generally, when someone becomes a victim, and they weren't before, generally, they have way too much time on their hands and they stop working. Generally, they're no longer as productive. So they have way too much time on their hands and they stop working. The moment we become way too idle, we think about bad things. We start thinking about very, very weird things. Everyone becomes enemy. Everyone's after us. Everyone's this. This is why sometimes the schizophrenic, sometimes the most paranoid people, as they get, it's just way too much because they think everyone's after them, right? It's not. You just have way too much time on your hands. So number 1 is too much idle time. Number 2, they start blaming. They become very good at blaming everybody. Everything's other people's fault except theirs. Everything. You did it. You didn't do this. You didn't treat me right. Remember that one time, the promotion, the this. Everything is blame. Nothing is personal responsibility. Everything is blame. Number 3 is justifying. They start justifying everything why they're a victim, right? So, idle time, blame, then justifying. So you don't understand, life is not all about money. You don't understand, you work too hard, and they typically hide behind their faith. I need to be more involved in my faith, and that I need to be more involved in my family. As if you can't do that or do all that stuff at the same time. And they are more noble than everybody else. All those people that work, they're not noble because they are justifying, right? Now keep in mind, everybody, I don't care who you are at some point, whether we were a kid or a young adult or a teenager, we know how to blame and how to justify, and we've had idle time. So this isn't anything new that your superior and other people are this. Everyone's been through this before. It's just knowing not to fall back into it again. Point number 4. They spread negativity to others. They're incredible at spreading negativity. Oh, you know what? The boss is doing this, the CEO. Did you see the CEO and all the CEO? Did you see the person here, that guy at the top, the guy over here, the vice chairman, the regional vice president. These guys are making the money. That guy's making the money. This guy's doing this, that guy. Everything. They started spreading negativity. They're so great at spreading negativity. And most people, unfortunately, most entrepreneurs, team leaders, executives don't get to that too early. They get to it way too late. So now they have multiple other people that become negative. Point number 5, which has to do with number 4. So number 4 is what? They spread their negativity. Negativity. Number 5, they're some of the best recruiters in the world. It is a lot easier to recruit people to a negative message than to a positive message. I know this sounds strange. What do you mean by that? Just think about more people have subscribed to negative thinking and fear-based and positive thinking. How many people in your life out of 10 people are positive? Tell me. How many? 9 out of 10? Come on now. You'd probably say 9 out of 10 is negative. Why? It's easier to recruit people to negative thinking. It's easier to recruit people to justify. It's easier to recruit people to blame. It's easier to recruit people to be idle. It's easier to recruit people to think smaller. It's very easy. It's tough to get people to stay positive and moving on. Oh, stop. It's too much. I'm tired. So these guys become the best recruiters. So if you don't get to them early, they know how to recruit all the other negative people and convert them very quickly. Number 6 is they spread their negativity, but number 6 is they spread rumors. Rumors are not true, but they start spreading rumors. Oh, did you know? Oh, did you know? Hey, what do you think about that? Did you know? Did you know he was doing this? Did you know he did that? Do you know what happened? Did you know this? Did you know in the past? Oh, you weren't around here. Did you know he used to do this? Did you know he used to do that? And boom. They become great recruiters. New people are who are very good attitude. They're like, oh, he was like that. Oh, he did this. Oh, she did that. Oh, he did. Oh my gosh. Oh, they're great at spreading rumors. Very good. By the way, all of these are also great things that your enemy, your competitors do to recruit people away from your business. Know that part as well. So they spread rumors. And then the last but not least, the challenge with the qualities of a victim mentality is this is a never-ending issue. And let me explain to you what I mean by this. Forget if they leave your company. Let's just say this is you and you're sitting here watching this video by yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like he's talking about me right now. So you don't comment on the bottom, but you get the value out of it. That's fine. It'll be our secret, you and I. The challenge with someone who's got a victim mentality is forget about who they work with. Forget about who they're in business with. I have a family member of mine, very close family member of mine, that my sister and I talk about all the time. This person lived in so many different places, and every time they did, it was always other people with the problems, but eventually this person ended up having problems with everybody. You know why? Because guess who followed this person every time they went? They did. This person was with themselves the entire time in their life. Everywhere they go, they're with them. So the challenge with a victim is no matter where he goes, no matter where she goes, they're with themselves. They're gonna have a problem at the next job, next company, next this, next that, next this. Anytime I hire somebody new or bring somebody new on board that's want to work with a sales executive, whatever it is, and they started like this, oh, the last company treated us like this and treated us like, how about, the other one, the CEO was this. If they talk bad about 2, 3, 4 people, they're the problem. Now, you got to be wise enough to know where the problem is. The problem is not with everybody in the world. They're the problem. The problem is them. The problem is not you. They're the problem, right? So let's continue. Now, so we have 7 things we just covered. Idle time. They blame, they justify, they spread negativity. They're great at recruiting other victims and converting people into victims. They spread rumors. And last but not least, this is a never-ending issue for them for the rest of their life. So now, what to do when this happens? I've experienced this so many times over my career. And the worst thing you can do is overreact. Worst thing you can do is overreact. This happens in your family. This happens in your friendship. This happens in business. This happens in every relationship you're going to have. Knowing how to handle is the key. The worst thing you can do is just hide and not want to do anything. You know, one of the best books in this area is Crucial Conversations. Crucial Conversations, by far the best book to go through and read on this topic. So now let's get into it. So what do you do when this happens? My number one thing that I do is immediately, I want to meet with them. And if their spouse is involved with the business, or if it's not, if it's an executive and it's just the executive, I meet with the executive alone. If it's something that's sales and maybe they're doing a business with husband and wife together, I want to meet with them and the husband together. But generally, I meet with them immediately. So now my number one is I meet with them immediately. Number 2, I ask them why they got involved with the company in the first place. Why did you get involved with this? Why did you work with this? Why are you doing this? And they'll say, well, you know, I did it because I wanted to do this, that, or I thought I could do this. Why'd you get involved in the industry? Why are you here with the company? Why you were excited at one point? What happened? What changed? What took place? So number 1 is, why they got involved in the first place. And I ask them the goals. They tell me about the goals, all that stuff. They tell me that. Okay, number 3. Then I ask, are those things still important to you when I'm meeting with them? Are those things still important to you? What do you mean? Do you still want to do that stuff? Do you still have those same feelings? Do you still want those things to become true? Do you still want to be part of those projects? And they'll typically tell you, if they say what? Yes, then great, this can be saved. If they say no, then man, I mean, it's the end of the relationship and it's fine. Not all relationships are going to work out. No, I don't want to be. Then you're automatically working on, possible exit strategy, et cetera, or maybe I'm digging a little bit deeper, we're asking more questions. The next one is find out what the challenges were and help them clear up. Like what happened? What I remember you were like this, now you're like this. What happened? What challenges are you facing? What's difficult? Who are you not happy with? Did I do something? Did something happen with the company? Did a team member do something? And you'd be amazed how many times there is something that you didn't even know about. Like, oh my gosh, it was that small of a thing. Truly, 80% of the time it's something this small that they just don't want to bring up, because remember, most people do what? They avoid conflict. They don't want to have conflict. Most people can't stand conflict. And to build anything big, you have to deal with conflicts. So they would rather not bring it up to you or bring it up to anybody that's their superior, because they would rather run and fly away and run away and go to another place. Flight, right? So ask what about the challenge, and then ask them a simple question. If they would like things to change, would you like things to change? Would you like this relationship with this business to get better again? Would you like your excitement to change? I would. Would you like things to get better like you once were 6 months ago, 9 months? Yes, I would. Would you like it? Yes, I would. No, I don't. No, not at all. Okay, great. Then if they say no at all and they're completely being disgruntled about it, you have a few choices. You can either leave them alone for a while, see if something changes, or you can ask them to leave. We can ask them to take a break. We have an option on what to do. Ask them to leave, give them a break, ask them to leave, give them some space for a few weeks, or ask them to take a break. But it's one of the two. Okay, if you want to fire them, you can fire them. If you can fire them, if it's an employee. If it's sales, you don't want to fire them, you can ask them to leave kindly, right? Then after that is study trends. I like to study trends of anybody that's working with me because you'll generally, no one knows more about your team members that you're working with in the work environment than you because you're working with them. So whoever's working closely with them, I want to find out the trends of that human being. For instance, someone's not happy. What is the trend? Are they always bitching or is it a new thing? Is it always negative? Like I had somebody who calls and says, oh, you don't understand, this person is just terrible. They're this, they're that. And what they don't realize is that I know that person's trends. They're the problem. Nobody else is the problem around them. They're the problem. But they think everybody else is the problem because they're a victim. I know this other person's trend. They've been solid with me from the day when they started working with me. This person has not. So the value, the credibility of this person bitching to me and complaining to me is this much. There's not a lot of credibility. This person's already been caught 6, 7 times that blames everybody else and it's really his fault or her fault, right? So trends, study trends. That point number 6, I think it's point number 6, right? Yeah, it's 6. Study the trends of that human being and you know who the person is. So study the trends on how their behavior has been and see if it's consistent with the way they've always behaved or if it's new. If it's new, sometimes when somebody completely changes and you don't recognize them, I generally, it's like a kid. You know, when a kid, like I remember when at one point my relationship completely changed with my mom or my dad when I was a kid. And I'm like, why? And I know because it was 2 kids I met that were terrible influence on my life. Or it was a girl I met that completely was a negative influence on my life, right? So maybe they're going through that. Maybe they're going through that. You know, sometimes as a leader, you got to know that, you know, most people are like the weather. They change often. Not the leader, most people. Leaders can't change that often because leaders got to stay strong and they got to lead. You're a leader. But generally, most people who are regular people, they change often like the weather. One day they're happy, one day they're sad, one day they're sad. And hopefully you're challenging them to become leaders, right? But you don't know, maybe they just started dating a girl that the girl just doesn't like the way you see things, just doesn't agree with your belief system, just doesn't agree with anything you say. They may have a father or a mother that doesn't like the fact that this person's constantly saying, oh, you know, he's so amazing, he's teaching me this, he's teaching me. You know what, stop. You got to trust him. So maybe there is that part going on. Maybe there's a part that, you know, they used to be the best and they used to do very good and now you have a new executive or a new sales guy or a new person that's doing very well and they don't like that because they were always a person and now there's somebody new and that kind of gives them the victim part. You know what, this person wasn't there when I was with you first 15 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago or 6. Who is this person? So there may be that. So you got to also be a human leader and identify maybe there's something deeper there. And generally if you grab a paper and pen, I need a paper and pen and I start processing the issue of the human being and write their track records and I go through these questions. I said, this doesn't make any sense. Maybe there's something. Let me dig deeper, right? Point number 7, go through qualities of a victim mentality. Like I'll generally say, look, I just want you to know this is a trend. This is what typically happens. And I've been there as well myself. And we fall in this trap when we start going too much idle time. When we have too much idle time, we start thinking about all our problems. Then we start blaming. Then we start justifying, then we start spreading negativity, then we start trying to tell other people to also buy into what we're believing, so we start recruiting other victims, then we spread rumors, then we're going to be stuck with us for the rest of our lives. No one wants that. You don't want that. I don't want that. So this is why we like to change and we like to adjust and we like to improve. Now you don't have to do this, but it's a choice. You have a choice to stay the same or you have a choice to improve. Which one do you want? I want to improve. Okay, great. Then when they agree to wanting to improve, I'll generally recommend a book, something to listen to, a video to watch, a movie to watch. I'll say read this paper and I want you to read this book and when can you read this book and finish it for me? I'll give me a week. Okay, great. When you finish the book, call me. Send me a text and let's get on a call together. We'll set up a time. I want you to finish it by this time. Next Friday, 4 o'clock, we're having a call to talk about the book. No problem. Then we talk about and have a call with the book. Then I'll make another recommendation based on what they need to be working on, based on a book you can recommend to them. And then generally, it'll improve little by little by little by little by little. And then you realize, okay, this person's improving, right? So the other part, point number 9, is as you're doing this, look, you can't fake this. You got to be genuinely caring about your team members. You got to be genuinely caring about the people that are working with you. If you study Alexander, the people that ran through the wall for Alexander, they knew Alexander would be the first to run through the wall for them. So there was a certain level of loyalty. If you look at people that build an environment that, I mean, it's just incredible, they know one phone call away, that dude's got their back. So there's an environment that you got to genuinely care about human. I love people. You got to generally care about people. You got to generally care about that person's story, their goals, their dreams. And if it's fake, people will tell all the time. But people can tell 100% of the time. It must be genuine. Next, point number 10, you hold them accountable. So what can I expect from you moving forward? What's going to change with you moving forward? You let them tell you what's going to change with them moving forward. And they'll generally tell you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Okay, great. We'll have a call next Friday. We'll have a call. Let's follow up a month from that, then 2 months, 3 months, and then boom. Hopefully this can improve. Great. Point number 12 is, point number 11 is if they fall once or twice, and maybe they get a little funky again, but they come back up, and they fall and they have a little bit of a funk again, and they come back up, give them a second or third chance. But then there's a time that if they're leaders, you got to have higher expectation from them. Then there's a different story. If they at all show no desire to want to improve and change at all whatsoever, they're getting even more negativity, blaming more, justifying more, spreading more negative, spreading more rumors. In my career, I've had to do this maybe 5 or 10 times. And I remember if I were to write it down, I could tell you each of the stories. Last one is, if things get worse, you ask them to leave and take a 90-day break. And I've had to do this about 10 times in my career. I'll simply ask them to take a break. And I'll say, look, I think it's the time you take a break. If it's employee, I'll ask them, this is just not for you. You got to find another place to go work. If you don't want to be here, you don't need to be here. We want people that want to be here. And you gently ask them to leave. The key is to be gentle about people leaving, because at the end of the day, you are dealing with relationships. You are dealing with human beings. You are dealing with people that also have emotions, hearts. They got feelings. These are people that also have feelings. Then you ask them to take a break, because I think if you don't do that, you don't ever want to have a team that doesn't want to be there. If you have a team that people don't want to be there, you don't get the most out of people if you don't give them that opportunity to know that they need to leave, go to a different place. So there's a couple ways of looking at it. One is what to do so this doesn't happen. Just so you know, I speak on this in front of my leaders. I train on this in front of my executives. I train on this in front of my sales force. Why? So anytime anybody decides to become a victim, everybody knows. And everybody says, ooh, you sound like a victim mentality. Don't wait for it to happen before you teach on this. Teach on this now and create this culture with everybody now. I had a very strong meeting with my home office executive team in the last 2 weeks. How much more? 2 more minutes. Okay, in the last couple weeks, I did this twice. And I brought it up to them, and I brought it up again in front of the entire staff team, the 6 or 7 points that I had, because this is 6 or 7 areas I want us to improve in. And we did. There's been a lot of progress. Everyone's having their own leadership meetings. They're improving. Things are getting faster. Deadlines are being hit. Things that I wanted to see happen. But too often we wait till the crisis happens to say, here's what we're going to do. It's already too late. Start early. Always start early to create the right culture. And remember that when you're a leader building things, you got to have a way to lead people without passing judgment, accepting the fact that everybody's different, not everyone's the same, and you as the leader are going to be judged on how well you can get the best out of your people. And if you can get the best out of your people, the rest is history. Oh, and by the way, I need your help with something. Elliot, could you throw me the pillow? There we go. Hey, I need your help. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. We're currently at 39,000. Our goal is to get to 100,000 by August 31st. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And for some of you that are absolute loyal fans who call this the best channel on YouTube for entrepreneurs, please help us get others to subscribe as well. Get to 100,000 fans. In the 3rd week of August, I am launching an incredible program for entrepreneurs. Many of you guys keep asking about how I can mentor people one-on-one. I'll be launching that by 3rd week of August, so stay tuned for that. And if you're watching this video, not on YouTube, on a complete different platform, somebody else's website, please be sure to go visit patrickbetdavid.com. Boom. And you can get more content there, a bunch of different videos and blogs that I've written about. And again, if you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button and subscribe to this channel. We got to get to 100,000 by August 31st. Hey, you got questions, comments, comment on the bottom. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.